of course, the next match, which they'd been building for a number of weeks. And look, the minute the match was to start, you knew who was going to win.
Oh, yeah. There was the hometown.
There was absolutely no doubt whatsoever that Mansoor was going to go over Mustafa Ali. Because when Mansoor, no one had even heard of, went over there and won his 2 or 3 previous matches, and no one had ever seen him.
Yeah.
Given the push he's had lately, and Ali, obviously a bit of a mentor by the look of it, and both from that side of the world, Mustafa Ali, a Pakistani, and Mansoor from Saudi Arabia, both young, culturally sort of aligned, whatever. They were good to train with each other, work with each other, etc. But there was no way Ali was ever going to win. But saying that, as you and I said a bit earlier, this probably would have made more sense as an opening match that you open the show with your hometown boy and going over. That would have been a good buzz for the crowd, and then that is sort of step one, and then we then start to progress up in terms of levels of excitement and the types of matches and whatever, and and then the cage matches further down the card.
Exactly.
But putting them two on straight after, even though he was the hometown boy, and it was a pretty good match.
Oh, it was a very good match.
But they killed a lot of the buzz of that.
Oh, that opening! That said that if you didn't watch the opening match, the card was strong. The card was strong. If you didn't watch that opening match, the card was strong. Right? It built up from this point up pretty well. Yeah. Right. So if you didn't watch the first match and you walked in on this match, you would think that was the opener, and the card went up in an up direction from that point on. Right? Most of the matches, we'll get on to the others that didn't, but I gave this actually 8 out of 10. And you know how hard I am, Pete.
Yeah, I gave it 6.
I am hard. Right? Yeah. It started off with wrestling.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing I'd written here. Absolutely good, in inverted commas, wrestling match. Holds, counter holds, and even Ali, which I thought was funny given where they were. And then later on in the show, we saw camels. But it's the first time I'd seen Ali use the camel clutch.
Yeah, that's right. And it was
smart given the circumstances of where they were, and
that match would have fitted anywhere in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Would have fit into that style perfectly.
Yeah.
It told a good story. The heel was a heel. The face was a face. Mansoor's comebacks were great. His facial expressions and the way he sold the comeback was brilliant. Ali worked as a really good heel, even though he's culturally aligned, but he's from Pakistan, especially when he said, "This is my house," when he walked into the ring. This is my home.
Yeah.
He was yelling that out to the fans.
Yeah.
Loved it, right? There was really not much that I could say negative about this match. Even down to the amount of high spots. They didn't do too many high spots.
No, they when I say they kept it basic, I mean that in the nicest possible
way. But that's what you want. That's what you want from your opening match.
They kept it reasonably. Well, it was a wrestling match, like what
it was a very good one.
Sort of grew up watching, seeing. Yeah, nothing wrong with it at all.
Now the afterbirth at the end is a different story, right? But we'll talk about that in a minute, But I thought the two guys wrestled extremely well. They told a very good story, had a very good match, old school style, right? And the outcome of the match, the actual finish of the match was very, very good, right? That the crowd popped for, even after what they just had to watch.
Yeah.
They still popped at the finish because Mansoor's a local boy.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right? Went over, right? Because I think if it was just two guys from America that rolled out there and done the match, two white Anglo guys, I don't think it would have got any pop at all.
Yeah, true. And they made a point of saying in the commentary that it was the first time that two Muslims went one-on-one in the WWE.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't beat that.
Well, I was trying to think back to when you had some of the different factions and that. And I really couldn't, off the top of my head, think of anyone, but they actually made it a point of saying, and I quote, the first time two Muslims going one-on-one in the WWE.
I did hear that comment, and honestly, I could not tell you if that was factual or not factual.
Oh, it doesn't really matter to some degree because they said Andre the Giant had never been body slammed before Hogan, and there was about 12 guys who had. But I'm
trying to think of, but you know,
but it was interesting that they say that. But given where they were, and you know, over there in the Middle East and all the rest of it, I just thought it was an interesting throwaway line, but it wasn't really a throwaway line.
Yeah, it was a political line.
Yeah, well,
we are open to all religions, genders. We are, you know, the rainbow people.
Yeah,
what that line was. Doesn't matter whether they were.
Oh no, I just thought it was an interesting point, and the match pricked my ears. I don't know why it did, but it did.
No, I heard it too. I heard it as well. Once again, it's WWE trying to be politically correct. That's all that is. But that match, those boys could have been both freaking Buddhist. Done a great match. Yeah. Great match. I was like, wow, this is a good, solid wrestling match. This is what this card should have started with.
Oh, absolutely. And we said that before we started recording, that if they'd started with this, and the hometown boy was going to win, he was obviously going to get the pop. It's a good start for the crowd.
That's right. What do you reckon?
They wouldn't have missed anything really, you know, by having the cage match a bit later in the card. Because theoretically, they call it like a main event because it's supposed to be your best match on the night. Now, whether it was the cage match or it was Reigns and Brock with the whole Paul Heyman thing, you know, even if it was semi-main or something like that, but you build, and every match is theoretically a bigger or better match till you get to the main event, and that's why it's the main event.
100%.
And you leave everybody leaving thinking, gee, what a bloody good show, because you've built. You don't want the emotions peaking at 10, coming back to 4, and then hovering around 5 or 6 or 7, and then try and get them up again. Like it's
hard work.
Yeah.
Hard work.
And the guys have got to work a lot harder, and sometimes if the match is booked the way the match is booked, there's only so much you can do.
And not harping back onto that first match again, but even if let's say it was a high-flying match that was very, very fast, and let's say you had Rey Mysterio out there with Juventud Guerrero back in the 90s, late 90s, where they were doing some outlandish stuff, right?
Yeah.
If you were going out after them on an opener, you could then redirect your match saying, okay, this is going to be a one where I'm going to pull at the heartstrings of the fans, ground and pound the guy, give him small comebacks to the face, you know, and then the face goes over with a big pop off, a surprise finish, a small package or something like that. You get ultimate. The cage was involved. Ladders and chairs were involved. High spots were involved. Chair shots to the nuts were involved. How do you go out the match after that when they've taken literally everything away from anyone? Chain kicks to their head, to the face, which you didn't. What was left?
Nothing. Literally
nothing. Nothing. If I was going out after them, I would have been kicking things in the back and swearing under my breath. I would have been going mental if I had to follow that match.
Well, particularly when you had the Goldberg Lashley match, which was a no holds barred.
That's exactly right. So
all they used was kendo sticks.
not harping back onto that.
I know, but in the context of what it is probably a vital talking point.
It is a vital talking point. It's to the point of, you know, I'd like to beat that 12-year-old kid that put this thing in his bedroom. I mean, you know, it's like, WWE, you're doing my head in. You really are. So,
Anthony, your thoughts on the Ali Mansoor match?
One of my notes here is that Mansoor has potential.
Yeah, he's got potential.
And
I don't think he's ever going to be a top liner, personally.
I mean, it's WWE, anything's possible.
Well, that's true.
No, but as I said, I saw something on social media last night after the show they had a graphic of the Undertaker, but they stuck Mansoor's head in front of it to say that he's the that he's the Undertaker's Saudi Arabia. I mean, no, the Saudi Arabian Undertaker. Sorry.
Oh.
And that was somebody in the crowd, was it?
I don't know. I saw it on social media. Look, he is undefeated in his hometown or his home country. Sorry, but he has been. But at one point, he was only wrestling on the Saudi shows. Yeah. And now he's more on over at the States. So is it worth calling him the Saudi Arabian Undertaker?
Oh God.
That's just someone's opinion.
That's only just Mark's opinion. I wouldn't read too much into that. I wouldn't read too much into that at all.
Both guys are great wrestlers.
They're very good. They're sound technically and all the rest.
Mustafa's a little undersized. He's a little small. But he looks good. He looks fit. He looks like a guy that could get into a fight.
Now,
right? The other guy is a good sized fella. Was
it me noticing, because of my OCD, was it me noticing that Mustafa Ali looked like he had mascara on? I think he does. They were really black.
Yeah, I think he does. I think that's one of his things. Maybe that's exactly what we're talking about. Maybe to make it look darker as an image,
because he did it. They were quite pronounced in terms of really, really dark. And I'm looking there and I'm thinking, has he got bloody mascara or something on to darken it all a bit? But they were black.
It's an old. The old timers used to do that. The heels to give that dark evil looking eye. I don't know. Maybe that's something he does. I don't know.
I've never noticed it on them before.
Yeah, maybe you just went for that. That's just being a heel.
I'll just have to have a look at his next one or two matches now that I'm aware. And then you alluded to it, Mike, the little bit at the end where the guy appears at the top of the race. He's all scarfed up.
Looks like one of the members of friggin' the Taliban.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's got his karate gi on with the red belt.
I had an idea who he was.
Did you? I didn't.
I did because I knew that they'd won a medal in the karate or taekwondo or something like that. Now, I'll ask you this question, Pete, because you're an experienced promoter, right? You've already sold your venue. Your venue's already sold out. Yep. Sold out, right? You don't need to hotshot this in any way, shape, or form. And also, too, if you're going to bring this gentleman out, which I can't think of his name, and he was a silver medalist.
Hamid.
Yeah, he was a silver medalist in the last Olympics.
At the Tokyo Olympics, yep.
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 If you're bringing that guy out, right, to run a post-match incident or an afterbirth.
Yeah.
For what reason?
I would have thought the reason was, and I'm not 100% sure if they got any other medals, but certainly a Tokyo silver medalist. The games have only sort of just finished recently. Possibly was their only or one of their very few medals. The crowd absolutely popped for him, so he's obviously highly known and respected, and if he was one of the few medalists, I didn't necessarily have an issue with it. I think it built a bit of intrigue. Who's this coming down? Because I guess you weren't really expecting anyone to sort of come and side with Mansoor or even Ali at that stage. We weren't sure who he was. Is this a new guy they've brought up from the Indies to try and start something with these guys? But as it turned out, it was this guy from the Olympics, and I think it was probably their way of honouring one of their, very few, if not only, medalists from the recent games. And in a fight sort of sport sense, with his karate or whatever it was. So, and obviously if he gets in there, I mean, that kick he did to Ali, man, that was super, super quick. That was a bloody good, but so I suppose it's just another pop for the local crowd. One of theirs gets a little thing over. Ali did the favour, the job for him.
All right, you got two guys that have done an exceptional match, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to make people disbelieve, right, that wrestling is real for that particular time that you're watching a match, that the wrestlers are tough and they can all fight. And I get the Karate Man comes out, one kick, knocks out a pro wrestler, right? And what does that expose the business? No, seriously. It does expose the business, right?
Yeah, it does, absolutely. Right. But I mean, we've been well and truly exposed for a very long time.
I get that. But the reality is, right, is that if you had a proper shooter on that guy, he probably would have been taken to the ground and turned into a pretzel within about 30 seconds, which I have seen karate guys get pinned to the ground by real shooters and take it out very, very quickly, right, by a real wrestler.
Yeah.
Right? So you've exposed the business by allowing the heel of the match to put up a damn good fight to get some guy over that nobody really cares about other than the local people and expose the business. Once again, not wrestlers running WWE. I don't know who's running it, right?
Well, don't forget, there'll be a fair bit of Saudi input into some of these shows.
Even then, bring him out as a special guest in something.
Yeah,
in a management. Don't expose a wrestler that's just put 20 minutes in, right, and then one kick knocks him out. You know what I'm saying? It just
I do, absolutely.
It would have been you put him down as the person who was watching Mansoor's back, and you bring somebody in that's watching the other guy's back, and at some point in time he uses his karate skills and takes him out.
Take out, yeah. The trouble is that neither of them are really aligned with anyone else. So if all of a sudden you bought someone out with Ali, well, what's he doing with Ali? Because there's been no real connection between him and anyone.
It would have saved the wrestler from being freaking.
Yeah, I agree. But then we'll do cable television. Well, why did, for lack of a better word, Mace or someone come out with Ali? Because
you could have had, at the point when Ali jumped him, you could have brought somebody else from NXT or someone like that that's prepared to get jobbed out to help him out and be his backup boy because he's going into an alien environment with this guy's home people. That's and that's what done me. That's why I didn't like the end of that match. Match itself, 8 out of 10.
Good match.
The end of it and the booking of it at the end was bloody terrible. Right? Once again, 12-year-old kid in his bedroom. Big picture of Vince Russo on the wall.
Oh God!
All right. So, and that once again, it made no sense. But the actual match itself was brilliant. The boys done a great job.
Oh yeah.
And once again, it wasn't them that let the show down. It was management and booking.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Let's move on.